Who you are is a reflection of who you think you are. 3 years ago today, I took a class that I had no business being in, as one does in college. And as somebody who had just graduated from high school right when the COVID-19 pandemic started, I was really nervous of not finding friends in a new country where I did not know anyone. I think that was very natural since I had no idea what the people here were going to be like. As a result, I constantly reminded myself of every possible worst-case scenario about how things could go wrong. That made me grow really guarded, and I just ended up finding a mean voice around me and not realizing that the mean voice was coming from within my head. One day, a classmate offered me gum. Nothing big, nothing scary, just gum. She usually sat in front of me in class, and she casually just turned around and placed a piece of gum on my table. Now, as I saw that green object lying in front of me, I felt this very heavy feeling gripping me as I struggled to tell her the words, "Thank you," without making it weird. Guess what happened? The whole class passed by, and I ended up not thanking her for her gesture. This small incident made me realize that I was really scared of talking to people around me. Now, that did not mean that the people were scary. It just meant that I had told myself enough number of times that they might be unfriendly. Let me tell you why this is relevant. Have you ever been in a situation where you're just scared of taking the first step, even though you know that once you start, you're probably going to be fine, right? What if I told you that this happens because your brain is constantly listening to the narrative that you tell yourself, and that impacts how you show up in this world? Imagine this. You are in a movie theater watching a horror film. Popcorn in one hand, a drink in another. It is a dimly lit room. You probably have a friend by your side, and you're here for the thrills. Now, you look at the screen, you see a woman walking down a hallway, slowly, trying not to be heard, and she's supposed to be the only one there. But suddenly, she hears some footsteps. Now, that scares her. The footsteps are now slowly getting closer, and then jump scare. What happens? You probably sit on the corner of your seat, anticipating that jump scare before it even happens. Your body prepares itself to witness a danger that is not present with you in the room to begin with. Why does that happen? You are safe, you have a friend by your side, and you probably know that the actress on the screen is safe as well. Still, you are ready to witness a danger that's not with you to begin with. Let's take another example. How many people in this room have been on a roller coaster? Right? That's quite a few. Now, how many of you are scared of being on a roller coaster? Well, I actually see why. But in reality, we all know that being on a roller coaster is not scary. You know, you have a belt around you, it's holding you in place, so you're not going to magically fly off, right? Even when this drastic perpendicular fall happens, you know it's going to be controlled in a way that, even if it's scary, it will not harm you. So where does this fear of roller coasters come from? The danger, again, is not present with you, just feels very real. What if I told you that this is because, again, your brain cannot tell the difference between a danger that's actually present with you and a danger that you have just imagined is going to be there for you? Neuroscientific studies prove this as well. The results on the screen are from an experiment conducted by Dr. David R. Hamilton, where he split the respondents into two groups. Group number 1 was made to listen to a few keynotes on a piano. Group number 2 were simply asked to imagine them. Now, from what we can tell, the results of the brain activity of the respondents show surprisingly similar results. Why? The second group did not even listen to any music to begin with. They imagined listening to music. So, one thing is sure, your brain is going to believe whatever narrative you're telling it. Its job is to keep you safe, and even in situations where it thinks there might be danger present, it's going to make sure that you're prepared for it. Now, that being said, that's very fair, right? That being said, how do you differentiate between things that are really scary and things that you just need to be a little bit scared of? If you think about it, if you're not careful enough, even a small sheet of paper can give you a paper cut. But that does not mean you will altogether stop writing or even making paper planes. All you can do is maybe focus on the other uses of paper and not how it can cause some cuts, right? What if I tell you that this also happens when your brain is focusing on things around you? I want you to take a quick moment and think about the person that you speak to the most in the course of one day. I believe you probably thought of a friend, a family member, or maybe your partner. Well, the answer is yourself. You speak to yourself even in moments when nobody is listening to you. If you have a good conversation that makes you feel nice, you think about it much longer after it is over. If you were to have an uncomfortable conversation that's going to bring big feelings up, you think about that conversation leading up to it, even before it has actually happened. Why does that happen? Because your brain is going to pay attention to the narrative you tell it, and it's going to keep a note. It's going to make sure that you are prepared in every single situation that comes up in front of you, and you're prepared to be safe. The interesting thing here is, even if you are a person who focuses on everything around you, it's impossible for you to focus on every single thing around you. Fortunately, what that means is you get to choose what you focus on. Let me prove it to you. I want you to now take a quick 5 seconds and focus on everything in this room that is red in color. Right. How many could you spot? Let's count them together. This carpet, the sign, the many number of couches that are suddenly red. How did that happen? They did not suddenly appear in the room in the last 5 seconds. These things were always red. You just notice it more now. And why does that happen? Because your brain got the signal that this is important, it requires your attention, and now, naturally, it notices it more. The exact same thing happens when you speak to yourself. So, when you look around and you tell yourself, I'm not good enough. I cannot mess this up. I'm so stupid, this is not that hard. Your brain is still listening, and it is paying attention. Now, if you were to focus on all the bad stuff around you, then your brain is just simply going to find more of those. How? It's going to think that finding ways that you can fail is important in order to keep you safe so that you literally are prepared for a situation that might arise in the future. Contrarily, if you looked around and thought of every single way things can go right for you, your brain is simply going to focus on them more. So, what if, instead of telling yourself, I cannot mess this up, what if you told yourself, this is important to me? Or, instead of telling yourself, I am so stupid, why can I not get this right? What if you told yourself, I'm still learning? Those are pretty much the same thing. The second one is just kinder to you. When we do this, we are not necessarily changing the things around us. We are just focusing on a different set of things. So, how do you go about this change? Well, you trick. You trick your brain until it starts believing you. You tell yourself that you are confident even if you don't feel that way. And the fun part? Nobody around you, not even your own brain, knows that you're lying. So how do you go about this change, How do you just bring about a change in your perspective? How do you start focusing on different things? Well, the good news is, bringing about this change is not very difficult, but it does require some small, consistent steps. So where do you start? You start with very small steps like gratitude. Think of 3 things in your surroundings every day that make you feel really good. It can be something very simple like the color of your curtains, how your blanket feels on you, or simply that you had something nice to eat for lunch. When you do that, it signals your brain to automatically look for more. Then your brain will search for more things that make you feel good. Now, when you do that, think about it. Your brain simply does not have the time to focus on the other stuff. Your brain simply cannot think about the limiting beliefs. Now, how do you find something that makes you feel good on an everyday basis? Well, try everything. Talk to a stranger. Try that hobby that you have been avoiding for all this time. When you do that, it signals your brain that the things around you aren't exactly threats. They're opportunities. Lastly, ask questions. Speak to yourself the same way you would speak to a close friend. That way, when you have a limiting belief come up to you, like, why do you keep messing this up? Just follow it up with a simple, that's not very nice. The same way you would if someone spoke to your close friend like that. The more you do that, the more you will realize that limiting beliefs are just holding you back. They are getting you caught up in this loop of where you keep finding more ways that things can go wrong for you, more ways that you're not good at. As a result, the danger around you, it begins to feel very real. And you end up not trying. I leave you with this message that being kind to yourself is the very first step towards showing up as a more present, more confident version of yourself. Because when you do that, you make your brain focus on every single way things can go right for you instead of making it focus on every little possibility of how it can go wrong. Eventually, as I began to realize this myself, I realized that the people around me aren't actually scary. I had just told myself enough number of times that maybe they might be unkind. And what I also realized is that sharing gum is a very good way of breaking ice. Also, people really appreciate it when you respond after taking that gum. So, who you are is a reflection of who you think you are. So remember, be very deliberate in how often you hear nice things about yourself. Show up as a more present version of yourself and speak that confidence into existence. Thank you.